creating the best AFL team using only one player per club. 6 defenders, 3 midfielders, 2 wingers, 6 forwards, and 1 ruck. Starting off with my defense, and now in fullback playing as our key defender, I've got the Brisbane Lions, Harris Andrews. Obviously a top defender, a captain as well, so he's a leader on the pitch. He's obviously one of Brisbane's best players, so it just makes sense to put him there. Now joining him, equally playing the grand final in 2023 as well, I've got a man who kind of plays midfield nowadays, but also is classed as a defender. It's Nick Dacos. Now have a go at me in the comment, have as much of a go as you want. You know, I can choose Brayden Maynard instead, I can choose Jeremy Howe instead, blah, 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 blah. But Dacos, look, he can technically play defense. So I'm putting Nick Dacos, not Josh, Nick Dacos in defense. Would have won the Brownlow if he didn't get injured. So, you know, we're one of the best players in the comp. So you've arguably currently got one of the best key defenders in the competition, as well as one of the best players playing in defense. Joining them from the Gold Coast, also on Queensland territory, we have got Will Powell. Now, Will Powell, is he one of Gold Coast's best players? Maybe not, but a very underrated, an extremely underrated player. Like any Gold Coast player, they don't get the plaudits or attention they deserve because they're not from Victoria. Watch Will Powell in isolation, you'll see that he's a great defender, uses his body very well, and he has to because he's not some massively built and tall defender. He's a pretty skinny, but an extremely talented player. His footy IQ is extremely high, and his just positioning in the defense is better than the rest, or at least in my opinion. Now, you could have gone with another Gold Coast defender, but for me, he's a guy who can play on talls and smalls. He's got versatility in that sense, and I feel pretty content putting him as my defender. Also joining him in defense is the Hawthorn Football Club's James Sicily. James Sicily is Hawthorn's best player. James Sicily is Hawthorn's best defender. In my opinion, James Sicily is the best defender in the AFL. Therefore, he's the best key defender in the AFL. Therefore, he just is the best. I don't want to hear shouts of Will Day's better, whatever. Look, it is pretty clear to everyone in the world that understands AFL and knows ball, has ball knowledge, is that Sicily is the best defender in the league, and obviously Hawthorn's best player. So we've got 2 pretty big defenders in Harris Andrews and James Sicily, a small defender in Nick Dacos, and a medium defender, Will Powell. This is not just choosing 6 defenders, 6 attackers, and a couple mids. We want to make this a balanced team, all right? Not just all talls, all smalls. Has to be balanced. We're imagining this team plays in the competition, okay? And this is the best team out there if you had to choose one per team, or 1 player per team. Now, 2 more defenders joining us in the defense. I've got St Kilda's Jack Sinclair. Now, Sinclair is somewhat similar to Dacos, Nick Dacos, where he can play through the midfield and has shown some prowess to the midfield. Dacos and Jack Sinclair are going to be my running defenders, my rebound defenders, taking the kickouts, piercing opposition defenses with their just great kicking skills. Especially Jack Sinclair with those fucking thunder calves. I mean, the best calves in the competition. Do you need to say much more? St Kilda's best player, probably, or at least top 3 in my opinion, in season 2023. And if you are St Kilda fans, they agree. And I think he suits my defense pretty well. Obviously a small defender, but his offensive capabilities in the defensive line is a reason why I'm picking him. So I've got very good defensive defenders and now attacking defenders. That's 5 defenders. Last in the defensive line, I have got a man who is forgotten about how good he is. One of the most skillful players you'll ever see. Arguably the best defender for the last 10 years. It is Jeremy McGovern. The X factor he'll bring alongside James Sicily, the defensive attributes, his offensive attributes, his leadership, his reading of the game, his footy IQ, his positioning, his spoiling, his intercept marking. That is who you want. And this defense is absolutely fucking solid. We've got a couple good key defenders, some intercept defenders, some good running smalls, some versatility with Will Powell. This is a defense that'll win any team a flag. Had this defense and have a bunch of absolute lackluster mids and forwards and you'll still win a flag. That's how good this team is. No goals are being let through and goals are being kicked from defense. So 6 players used. Let's go through the midfield. We'll go through my out and out mids. So not my wingers first, just my actual mids. I've got Sam Walsh from the Carlton Football Club. Now Sam Walsh, look, you could have gone with Paddy Cripps, but I think Sam Walsh is better. I think his disposal use is better. He's more threatening, and he is, in my complete opinion, tracking to be a better player in 2024. I think he was a better player in 2023. If you really consider when both were fit, how they played. Sam Walsh winning the best finals player, player, so he's a better big game player. Sam Walsh is just the future of football in my opinion, and I think he's Carlton's next Brownlow winner. Now, I wouldn't blame you if you went for Paddy Cripps at all, would not blame you one bit, but I've just gone Sam Walsh because I just prefer him to the eye, like my preference. Now, joining Sam Walsh in the midfield, obviously use my Carlton pick now. Joining him in the midfield, I've got a Melbourne player, and who do you want to pick? You've got Petrarca or Oliver. I've gone with Petrarca. Only reason is, look, I think Trax just offers more than Oliver. Oliver, off-field, wouldn't vibe with him, okay? Wouldn't vibe. He would just ruin the culture of the team like he's doing in Melbourne right now. Christian Petrarca, big game player, Norm Smith winner. Obviously, just an absolute weapon up forward, a weapon in the midfield. Clearance work, inside work, and just absolute professional. If you follow him on TikTok, you know that man can cook as well. And we need a chef to bring this team together so they can eat well. What the fuck am I talking about? Look, in terms of the defensive stuff that he'll do, I think Sam Walsh will be a bit more of a defensive two-way runner where Petrarca can bomb up forward. Now, having completed this, the best player in the competition joins me next in our midfield. The best player for the last 3-4 years. Definitely deserves a Brownlow. It's Marcus Bontempelli from the Western Bulldogs. Look, Bont, according to Mark Robinson and according to me, he's the best player in the competition. He is so good. He is the guy who's going to bring outside, inside work, defensive work, offensive work, captain, leader, silky in the rain. Absolutely just a fucking weapon. He breaks lines. He is penetrating with his kicking. And for me, he is just the best. And he completes what I think is a absolutely colossal midfield in Sam Walsh, Christian Petrarca, and Marcus Bontempelli. Now, if you come up against that midfield, fuck me, that is scary. We'll go through my ruck as well whilst I'm, going through the midfield. I've got Fremantle Sean Darcy. Probably not the best ruck in the comp. Max Gawn, I would probably take over him, and you could argue one or two more, but he's definitely top 3 for me, and I would prefer using Fremantle's pick. Look, Fremantle don't have a lot of outstanding players who are the best in their position in the comp. But for me, Darcy is a top 3 ruck. Can you say Sarong and Bracer are a top 3 mid? No. Can you say a forward or, defender is top 3 in their position? No. Therefore, Sean Darcy is the obvious pick. Take up my ruck spot. He's young as well. He's going to keep progressing, and he's going to be great in this midfield. His tat work's good, and that's all we need. Now, joining them on the wing. That wing was actually a really hard position to pick for me. I've gone 1, Nick Martin from Essendon, and 2, Errol Goulding from Sydney. Now, Errol Goulding, obviously probably top 10 player in the comp last year, arguably top 5, was in Brownlow shouts. And considering that he has to deal with Chad Warner, Luke Parker, Callum Mills, those players taking votes away from him, Tom Papley, Isaac Heaney as well. There's a lot of competition. The fact he was head and shoulders above in the Brownlow count and just general performances shows you how good he is. Out and out winger as well. I love his silky left foot. Hits you on the scoreboard, penetrates you with his kick. He is turning out to be one of my favorite players to watch. He's a left footer as well, which is very important because left footers just are better than right footers. And then look, Essendon's Nick Martin, one of the up and coming players in the competition. Definitely could be a top 10 player in the next 3 years, so watch out for him. Just because he's young doesn't mean he's not good. His statistics as a winger were off the charts in 2023. He was statistically the best winger, or at least top 3 according to general wing stats. It's such a promising player, and honestly, I think he's one of Essendon's best players, and he's one of the best wingers, so it just makes sense to put him in. Like, I spent time doing this list. I had quite a few drafts, just having fun with it, right? But this list, I honestly think, is the best team you can create. I don't see another list which is better than this, and look, call me biased, but I honestly believe that. So that finishes off my midfield, and finally, we're going to go into our forward line. Starting off as our sort of X-Factor, small pressure forward, I've got Adelaide's Isaac Rankin. Now, Adelaide's Isaac Rankin is, oh my God, what a player for the future. He is so exciting to watch, so riveting. He is just pure football. He's fun to watch. He makes football fun. The things he does the X Factor stuff, like I said, but the nitty gritty, the ground ball work, the pressure work, the tackling work, the stuff you don't really see on the pitch, that's what he does. Joining him in the forward line, I've got Geelong's Jeremy Cameron. Has been one of the best forwards for the last 5 years. Probably still be a top 10 or top 5 forward for the next couple of years. Geelong's pick was a hard one. I don't think they have any outstanding players, but Jeremy Cameron is definitely currently and next year will be a top 3 forward. Joining him in the forward line, I've got a man who I think is probably top 3 players in the competition, let alone best in his position, GWS Giants, Toby Green. Now, Toby Green, a little bit like Dacos and Jack Sinclair, he can play through the midfield, but predominantly he's going to play up forward. He's going to be that leader up forward. He's going to be that role player, as well as just being that X-factor player where he can play as a small, picking up ground balls, can play as a tall, getting great marks, big marks as well. He's going to cause trouble. He's the best forward, general forward in the competition, and that is why he's in. We keep moving forward. I have got probably, in my eyes, the best forward in the competition, Nick Larkey. Sorry, the best key forward. Toby Green, like I said, is the best forward in general. The best key forward is Nick Larkey. Now, you'll have Carlton fans crying, saying, oh, Charlie Kerner. You'll have Geelong fans crying, oh, Jeremy Cameron. Adelaide fans crying, oh, Tex Walker. Nick Larkey is significantly younger than those, and he's better. Why is he better? Well, he plays in a much worse team where the sort of disposal used into the forward 50 is atrocious. He doesn't get the same opportunities as those other forwards I've mentioned. And you just wait till North Melbourne have a decent midfield where they can actually hit targets in the forward line. You'll be seeing a fucking beast come into play. We've seen how good Savlaki is. I think he finished 3rd in the Coleman, maybe even 2nd. And he's going to win, definitely win at least a Coleman in the next 3-4 years. And he, for me, is the best key forward, better than Cameron, better than the rest. Joining him up forward is Port Adelaide's Connor Rozee. X-Factor, pressure forward, big game player, can roll through the midfield as well. What more do you want? I mean, Connor Rozee, I think, is better than Zach Butters. I think he's the best at Port Adelaide. He's versatile. The fact he can be a top player in the mid and a top player in the forward line is very rare. He's so fucking young as well, like Zach Butters. They are both so young, but I think, honestly, Connor Rozee is the best out of those, and he is just on track to be one of the best forwards, best players, best midfielders. He could probably play ruck and still be good. And we are left with, I believe, one more forward. Yes, our last forward, finally saving this team to last because they might finish last in 2023. It's my team, the Richmond Football Club. There were many names I could choose from Richmond. Richmond don't have a best player in any position, nowhere near anymore. It was between Dusty and Shea Bolton, but I have gone with Shea Bolton because in 2024, he'll probably be better just because Dusty is getting a bit older. Shea Bolton's reaching his peak. The peak age, mid-20s, late 20s, that's where you want to be. And look, as inconsistent as Shea Bolton can be, when he is on and he's firing and he's in form, he's scary good, X-Factor, can take absolute crazy speckies, kick crazy goals, chase down tackles, big game player. He is just someone that everybody wants in their forward line. And that is the forward line. We've got Rankin as a sort of smallish player, Jeremy Cameron and Nick Larkey as our talls, and then Toby Green can be a mix of tall or small, choose your pick. And then a little bit of a smaller / they can roll through the midfield, but generally smaller forwards in Connor Rozee and Shea Bolton. And that is the team. It'll be on screen right now. How fucking good is this team? Let me know in the comments. I will be reading the comments. Come up with your list. It's actually quite fun to do. So go through, get 1 player per team. Like I said, 6 forwards, 6 defenders, 3 midfielders, a ruck, and 2 wingers. They gotta be wingers. You can't put mids on the wing like all Australians fucking do. No, I want out and out pure wingers. And look, maybe I haven't chosen out and out defenders with putting Dacos in the defense, but there are loopholes. I'll enable you to have that. But let me know in the comments what your list is because I am genuinely intrigued because I have spent time on this and I think it's probably one of the best. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in another video.